I'm Vanessa, a Sustainability Manager of foodpanda Singapore, taking care of all things food, sustainable packaging, energy efficiency, as well as awareness and education. As a Sustainability Manager in foodpanda, I will look into 4 different verticals. So one is all things food, so looking into specifically food waste. So how do we deal with the food waste? How do we encourage our restaurants to improve on their food waste? The other way is also like the sources of food. So as you know that we ban shark fin on our platforms. We are also looking into like reducing or eliminating the number of endangered species on our platform as well. Looking into alternative meat sources. So we have like plant-based meats, plant-based brands as well. Next, we'll look into like sustainable packaging. So like working with Muse and Bearpack, as well as our close vendors such as like Shake Farm, where they are also enabling and encouraging the consumption of delivery, also together with like reusable containers. Next, we're also looking into energy efficiency. So how can we also upcycle or recycle the IT as a food tech company? We have a lot of technology that's involved as well. So how can we also reuse or resell the hardware that we have in our company? And also as a building, how can we also reduce the amount of energy consumption that we have as we are working in an office? And last but not least, awareness and education. So what we like to do is with our initiatives in foodpanda, we would like to be able to share a little bit more about our daily habits that are accumulatively will be able to positively impact the environment. So when I was a lot younger, we studied in the textbooks like in science, where we saw that you can use the sunlight and you can transfer that into playing with your toys and stuff like that. So when I was a lot younger, which was like some time back ago, like maybe 15 years ago, I always thought that we were already doing that on scale, and that when I switch on the light, it means that like, oh, actually this light is coming from the sunlight. But it was only much later on when I started understanding a little bit more about the environment, understanding a little bit more about our lifestyles, that actually this wasn't the case. And to further like elaborate on the fact that how we are like misusing our environment is when I first went diving, and I saw 15 or 20 pieces of plastic just within my reach as well. So it was a little bit of picking up 15 pieces of plastic and also picking up some disappointment that I realized that I really wanted to make a positive impact within the sustainability sphere and within the environment. We are looking into sustainability as a long-term game. So as I mentioned earlier on, like there were already a lot of like initiatives that were kick-started from foodpanda in the beginning, like like banning the endangered species, opting out of cutlery, also looking into reducing the amount of meat that we use, onboarding on like reusable containers with Muse and Bearpack. So I would say that we really do want to create long-term value with our consumers, as well as we understand our impact in the industry in general. So we want to be able to cement ourselves as like the first and leading sustainability company in the food delivery industry. So actually with reusable containers, I guess the sharing economy is actually very new to Singapore in general. Like I think in other countries it's more of like oh yeah, there's a sharing economy, we can, it's very natural to them. Whereas in Singapore, it's something that's really new. So I would say the obstacle or some of the drawbacks that we have is actually really more towards awareness. Some of the consumers actually don't know that this is available to them, and once they actually find out, they're more than happy to be a part of this solution. So internally, we also have our sustainability at the top of our minds. So for instance, what we do is that we work a lot with like marketing, supplies and stuff like that. So when we communicate with our suppliers, we try as much as possible, to alert them, hey, can you please reduce the amount of plastic that is being delivered to us before we send it out to our consumers with either a marketing campaign or in some of the giveaways that we have. generally, everyone is very supportive, especially from the management. So the MD is actually very happy and willing to be able to support. So I actually go up to him and share like the kind of campaigns that we would like to have, or like the projects that we want to implement across. And he's always giving us, he's giving me the sustainability a lot of airtime to share with the rest of the company, and that's one. And also to be able to garner a lot of like support from each of the departments. So I would say from the top down and the bottom up as well, everyone is invested in the sustainability initiatives. So I would say public response is pretty good in general. As we know, like last year, there was quite an uplift of plastic waste that was being contributed to the environment, especially during COVID, when a lot of the food delivery companies had to come in and support like food consumption in general. So when there was like a reusable container solution, lots of people were like really excited to have this solution. I would say that in general, from the moment that we launched to around like the end of the year, there was actually about like 40% increase of increased uptake of like the reusable containers, either through meals or backpack. So in total, we have actually saved about like 27 million sets of cutlery as of today. So yeah, I would say public perception of our initiatives are really great, but what I would really like to is to be able to get more people on board and more consumers on board to understand the different ways in which daily behavior can actually impact the environment. So first and foremost, I would like to see a lot more people taking on reusable containers. That's one. We also have a pickup option. So in foodpanda, you can choose to do delivery or you can choose to use pickup. So what happens here is that you can order your food on our foodpanda platform, but also go down to pick up the item. So that if you do both together, then it will be like, you know, almost like a zero waste delivery if let's say you finish all your food, because that's like using reusable containers, and that's also like not using any other motorcycles, and that's like zero carbon emissions as well. In 2021, there'll be a lot of sustainability initiatives that will be coming up within our Green Master Plan towards like 5 to 10 years of the future that we were speaking about. So for more information, you can always go on to foodpanda Instagram. But what I also like to encourage people is to empower yourselves. Just because maybe you're not in a situation or not in a position of like a sustainability manager per se, you are also in the power as a consumer, as a user, as a demander to request for more sustainable initiatives, or within your company itself, you're also able to make some changes. Maybe you are able to ask a question to your boss, or maybe you're able to garner some support from your employees. These are the little things that you'll be able to do within your control to make a positive impact on the environment.